Okay, I'm recording.
Okay, cool. So it's that losing it all shape was a big part of shaping who you are today. And who, if from in your opinion, from your perspective, if someone asked you for a 30-second elevator pitch on who is Kent Clothier from the perspective of an internet marketing audience, what would you say?
I'd say I'm a guy that's probably figured out over the last couple of years that I can go off and do exactly what I want to do from a marketing perspective. Can design products that work inside of my core business, which now is actually kind of real estate investing, but they work inside of that business, and it's enabled me to turn around and be, I think by most standards, people would consider to be a little aggressive in my marketing, but it's very real to me. So in other words, uh, I'm very transparent. I call it exactly how I see it. I don't pull any punches. I'm just, I am who I am, kind of polarizing a little bit, but that has been very, very effective for us. And I think that's probably contrary to what a lot of people would think, it can happen in marketing, but it absolutely has worked wonders for us in our marketing to just, hey, design, be who we are.
Right. Well, very cool, very cool. What it was one of the things I always like to promise our viewers is that by the time we're done with this interview, they'll have a something actionable that they can take away from this interview that you can do before you're done today, and then give them a real good idea of what to expect when they come see you speak live and on stage in Austin, Texas on Thursday, July the 12th.
Actionable item. I would tell you that we can today. I think people will be shocked at how fast you can identify what you're really good at in your business. In other words, whether you're a marketer, whether you're develop products, publisher, whatever that is that you really enjoy doing, and by just focusing on that one thing. I mean, just have a really hard conversation with yourself starting today. This is what I like to do. This is what I'm good at. This is what I want to do. Start with the end in mind. In other words, turn the model around. I've made a career out of doing this. Basically saying this is where I want to get to. This is what I really want to do, and start working backwards and laying out the steps immediately on what is going to get me there sooner rather than later. I think a lot of guys, a lot of people out there, whether it's marketing or whether it's designing products or whatever, they just kind of go, they chase the money. They just kind of go for what they feel like they should be doing, and they haven't really taken the time to be really strategic about what they do. And
Okay.
I think a lot of people would be shocked at just how simple it is to say, this is where I'm trying to get to. This is what I'm good at. This is what I want to do with my day on a daily basis and how I want to make money. And then they'll quickly find out that they can take 5 or 6 steps back and see if I just start connecting the dots, I can get there really, really quick. And that's kind of what we have perfected over the last few years. And people look back at us, and whether it's in the real estate space or in internet marketing, whatever, they kind of are shocked at how fast we get to where what a lot of people would consider to be success. And the reason why that happens, I would say, is because we start with the end in mind. We actually take the time to say, that's where I want to be, and then I start working backwards.
Great. Well, so what does that process look like? I mean, is it just a matter of asking? I mean, my guess is there's some very concise questions that you ask.
Absolutely. And
it's good, or is that the end of it, right? I mean,
no. I mean, it's most people don't take the time to realize. I'll give you a couple things, some conversations that I have with myself and we have with our team all the time, and that the one currency we all have, and that is the only currency that any of us have, is time, period. And so how we spend that time and how we design, how we focus all of our attentions, it all breaks down to what do we want to spend our time doing. So in other words, if I sit out there and I'm just kind of going through the motions day in and day out, trying to chase a dollar, see how can I go generate $5,000 today or $10,000 a day, whatever the case may be, and I'm not really thinking about what am I spending my time doing now, working on my business instead of working in it, that's going to get me ultimately to where my goal is, then I would argue that you're not necessarily spending your time wisely. because there's only 24 hours in a day. We all have the same. I don't care if you're the richest guy on the planet or if you're just starting out. We all have that. That is exactly the same for every one of us. The only difference is what really successful people do with their time, how they leverage it, asking very strategic questions. And then once you get the answers to those questions, it's taking things that are actionable that you can actually start implementing immediately, that get you to that goal. And I'll give you an example real quick. Very quickly, we designed some software in our systems that, we have thousands and thousands of users of people now using some of our software. I never set out to be in the software business. What I set out to do was to make my investing business easier, right? I didn't want to spend time digging through data, digging through records, doing all this nonsense because I wanted to go and hang out with my kids. And so automating that process made us very strategic. And in automating that process, we then start sharing it with a lot of people. And what do you know? All of a sudden, we become a software company and now make millions of dollars by just showing somebody a very simple process that all started with us trying to solve our own problems first. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it resonates with what Heather talked about yesterday. Is it's and one of the things I shot back at her is the idea that makes a lot of sense, and a lot, like I'd say a good half of not hands that comes to our parties is still trying to figure it out, whether it's because they just got started or for several months. And I want to make sure that we resonate with them as well that might not have a successful business. They're trying to break free from the 9 to 5. So I also want to make sure that we capture how they can grab that.
Well, I think, when I work with a lot of different people out there, a lot of different entrepreneurs trying to solve that exact same problem, right? And I can tell you that it all boils down to if you're trying to figure out if you're trying to design a product for other people, I would argue, or you're trying to do anything for other people, I would argue that that's probably the wrong question to be asking. You got to ask yourself, what do I want to do? Period. What do I want to do? What do I want to make? What do I want my day to look like? If I had one day left, what does it need to look like? And start there. That's a really hard question to answer for, I would say, 99 out of 100 people. This is what I want. This is what I want it to look like. And if you start there, you'll find that a lot of the answers start to fall in place pretty quickly.
Have you found any strategic ways or any kind of tricks on how to make that answering of that question easier? Or because it sounds like that might be what you're hinting at, that you've kind of
and that's what I plan on sharing there. I'm going to share with you exactly how we ask those questions of ourselves. How we start with that end in mind, what's the formula that we use to start backing into the process, and then basically whether it's designing a product, designing a business, designing just a project, designing a campaign, whatever the case may be, how a few questions and asking them of yourself the right way, how you can start backing into, hey, either this is worth me doing or it's not. And I think, man, I would tell you that being a guy that has absolutely made millions of dollars and lost millions of dollars, right? That's an important question to answer, man. That's a really important question to answer. Do it because it means something to you. Don't do it because you're chasing money.
What just flashed for me is that's a question that you've probably seen that would apply to anybody, whether they're just getting started, can't rub two pennies together, or even if they're already making millions, but they hate their life. They're not really. I mean, I know how connected I know some guys that you get them one-on-one and they're looking to sell their business, so they're looking to get a CEO to run it.
No question. Dude, I mean, we know a lot of this. I mean, I know a lot of people, we run the same circles. I mean, there's a lot of guys making millions of dollars a year, and they're a slave to that money and that job and what they're doing. They're not happy, and that's because they didn't take the time to answer that question.
Right. So, so can you get, without spilling the entire beans of how to strategically go through that? So this is neat, man, because essentially the title of what you're going to talk about at the party is how to create businesses people want, or products people want. Right. So what you're kind of backing into it already and giving us the hint, and that is the way to create a product people want is to first create something you fucking want.
You got it. You got
it's
it.
Like weird. I just saw the connection.
I have never set out, and again, I know there's a lot of guys that are successful doing it a different way, but I'm telling you the way we do it. I have never set out to design a product that wasn't first intended for me to be the ideal user, and for me to be the person that I was going to market to, for me to be the person that was going to solve a major problem for me. And the problem it was going to solve for me was, how do I spend less time doing bullshit I don't want to do? Period.
Well, let me ask you this. I mean, because a lot of people aren't innovative, aren't creative, either because they believe that or because they, I mean, let's face it, we all have strengths, we all have weaknesses, and some people just aren't very creative or innovative.
Right.
What would you say to folks out there that aren't just naturally entrepreneurial or innovative or creative, but they want to be? Or they're hearing you say that, but they go, damn it, Kent, if I knew how to create I mean, I don't know where to start.
Well, I keep in mind, I'm not trying to, I'm not going to tell people that you have to go off and create products, or you have to do that. Let's be clear. What I'm saying is that if you're trying to do anything, if you're trying to build a business, and I'm assuming that most people, that's what they're trying to do that are going to be at the party. That's part of what they're trying to do. Then
build, improve upon.
Yeah.
Maximize.
Then do it with ask the big question and be very honest and actually take self-inventory of what the answer is. Make sure that you get down on paper what is going to make you happy. Don't just design a product, design a business to try to solve somebody else's issues. Try to make sure that it's absolutely solving some issues that you have, that you see in the marketplace, and in turn, it's always been, and Heather's a classic example of this. When I'm trying to solve problems, for me, I have a tendency to attract people to me that will ultimately help me to solve those problems. So whether if you're not creative and you don't have all those resources at your fingertips, but you have, you're very clear about what you're trying to do because you're convicted about it, because it's a problem that you're trying to solve, you'll find that you'll attract the kind of people to you because you'll have a plan and you're being very strategic about it. You'll attract the people to you that'll help you make it a reality.
The whole reticular activating system.
Dude, it works like crazy. And I mean, it absolutely works.
Hello.
Yo.
Okay, hold on. Let me pause the recording.
No worries.
Nothing like. Okay, we're recording. We're recording again. Nothing like the good old interwebs to cut off.
All I was doing was just hoping to God it was yours and not mine.
It was mine. It was mine. It happens from time to time. All I had followed up with was that it's like the reticular activating system. When you decide to buy a new car or you learn a new word, and all of a sudden you see that car everywhere, you learn that new word.
Yeah.
Similar type thing, or when you decide this is what's going to make me happy and what I want to be doing, and here's where the problem is in that arena. You'll start attracting people even if you don't know how to do it.
That's exactly right.
So it could even be kind of turning it in on itself is if somebody's out there thinking, I'm not creative, I'm not innovative, but I want to be a business owner. That's the problem right there, and it would make me happy to be creative or to be innovative or to be a business owner. Well, then go find somebody who can solve that.
As the saying goes, you speak your future, right? If you sit there, if you go and decide this is what I want to do. This is what matters to me. This is how I want this to look. Then you will, I firmly believe, you can begin to take the actions and put yourself in the places to make those things happen. And the second part of that, I'll tell you, part of the most liberating thing for us, which I think is the part that would shock people that this is true, is that when you are in that position, because you are so convicted about what you do, you begin to market very differently. And I know I'm a kind of guy that I just don't like to pull any punches with my list. I mean, we've got a big list. We've got a lot of stuff we do out there. But I just like to be very, very transparent. It saves me a lot of brain damage. I just like to say, hey, man, this is what I think you should do. This is what I believe in. This is what I'm convicted about. Go do it. And the beauty of doing like that, pushing versus pulling is what we call it, is that, man, we have a tendency to push our customers, and the customers that love us, they just get us. And the people that don't, we push their asses right out the door. And so we don't have any problem customers. We don't have any problems. We don't have any normal headaches that a lot of people would have, because the people that are ultimately a part of our world are people that just get it, because we just deal with them in a very transparent way.
Comes down to principles, man, and in the sense of marketing principles, because one of the guys that's being touted as one of the best VSL, if not the best VSL copywriter out there, one of our past Internet Marketing Party speakers, John Benson, he came onto the stage when he spoke, and he immediately said and did a bunch of things to offend people. And he said, I absolutely positively know that 33% of you will never like me, will never become my fans, will never buy anything from me. So I want to weed you out right now.
Absolutely.
And so it's like, don't go into it trying to become everything to everybody. And that's what it sounds like you're
I could not agree with it
about.
more. I could not agree with it more. I mean, because at the end of the day, what happens is those 33% end up being your problem child, right? Those are the people that end up causing you all the headaches, sit there and kill you on the web, do whatever, run your customer service around, whatever, send you the dirty emails, the whole thing. The point is just deal from a very convicted, passionate, honest place, very transparently, pushing hard on your customers. Yeah. And we've seen that to be very, very effective. And we get away with it because we know our stuff works, because it was designed for us.
Right. Yeah, so that's the best. That's the best. So, there was something you mentioned about speaking your future. How does someone know when they've? Do you have a strategy for? Because I think anyone who's starting out or isn't quite sure, how do they know when they've genuinely answered the question, what's going to make them happy, and how do they know? I think it's probably just a matter of taking action. Right?
Here's what I could tell you. Every time I've ever gone through this exercise with an entrepreneur, every time, which is literally thousands of times now, the very first thing that I would say 90% of people do is they tell me what they don't want. So in other words, well, you know what? I don't want to be sitting around at my desk all day, and I don't want to be strapped to a computer all day, and I don't want to do this, and I don't want to do that. We all know what we don't want. And I would tell you, when you're dialed in is when the only thing you're talking about is what you do want. So in other words, I want to do this. I want to do this. When those are the words that are coming out of your mouth versus what you don't want, then you're on the right track.
So it almost sounds like if somebody's watching this right now and they want to just take their first stab at this process on their own, they should come up with it and then either write it out or say it out with a recording, and then go back and listen to it. Because when you're in the moment, you won't necessarily hear your don't wants.
Right. Write it down. And don't use those words like I am not, or I don't, or what. Don't use those words. This is what I am. This is what I want. Write it down. Record it. To this very day, I have it on my iPhone that I listen to when I work out. This is the kind of stuff that I can tell you when we apply this in everything that we do. When we talk about this is what we want it to look like. I don't care what it doesn't do. This is what I need it to do.
Wow.
And so,
this is spinning off two different ideas, and it'll be a matter of us getting creative on the spot. Maybe we can throw out a challenge for folks that are watching this right now and leave comments below about their best take on what you know, what will make you happy and what do you want to do? Even if you have a good business right now, what element of that business do you want to do that you will make you truly happy? Enter your comments below, and what's something you think we can do to the best answer, or help me develop this.
I'm game for anything, man. I'm game for anything.
Huh. How about the best? Because I mean, you do some of this coaching.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, if you charge anything like Drew, who's your transformation guy, he charges like $15,000 for a transformation, right? Or just gone up now.
I charge 15 grand for 2 days. Absolutely. I tell you what, the best comment. Do you want to throw that out there? I'll give somebody 2 days.
2 days?
Yeah.
I mean, I was just gonna say like a couple hours on the phone,
fine.
Man, but
2 hours. That's fine. Let's do that.
I mean, no. Now people are gonna be pissed at me. Like, give me 2 hours. I mean,
you know what? I will absolutely give 1 day to somebody for the best. You know, people that get dialed in on this, because I'm telling you, I believe strongly that this is what makes somebody go from being a good marketer or just kind of a business owner, or there's a lot of successful business owners that are not entrepreneurs. In other words, where they get to sit back and do whatever they want to do. They don't have customer service issues. The business kind of runs itself. And I'm telling you, a key element of that is this, what we're just talking about right here. It's just knowing what you want when you start. Exactly what you want.
Well, let's put a couple of parameters on there. You must be present at the Internet Marketing Party to win. And I say if your comment is good enough and Kent starts giving it the thumbs up, it means you best get your ass on a plane and come to Austin. Amen. If you're not in or around Austin to win.
I like it. I like it. Let's do it.
All right, cool. The other thing is I also had the idea of maybe running this through the Internet Marketing Party as a case study, because at the end of the day, I started the Internet Marketing Party as a passion project. Like, it was just something. I love hanging around with smart, talented entrepreneurs. And I've had the hell of a time figuring out how to really monetize it. I know what I want to be doing. I know what I don't want to be doing. So that's a clue right there. So we're looking at monetizing it by turning it into a membership site.
Yeah.
Where your talk will be part of that content, as well as all of our other talks. Could we spend a couple of minutes right now, just real time, like, throwing me on the hot seat?
Yeah,
just going how do we create an Internet Marketing Party as a product that people want? And that might already be a clue I was thinking about. Is I haven't really genuinely asked, like, what do you folks want? I just interview people that I like, that I get good referrals from.
So I would immediately turn it around, because I think that's only part of the question, right? I wouldn't ask the question of what other people want. I would ask the question, you do it because it makes you happy, right? I mean, that's the reason why you do what you do. But there's a much bigger question there that you got to really ask yourself. What is it that you are trying to accomplish? What are you trying to get to? And then what does the Internet Marketing Party represent getting you there? And I know it sounds kind of crazy, a little deep, but that's what happens, dude. That's what you got to do.
And here's the deal, and I think this is probably, I would guess that a large percentage of people run into this, because I've seen it with coming up with a unique selling proposition or unique sales, position, all this kind of thing. And that is, I want to have a network of influencers in the marketplace, so that really what drives me is access. I like not just access for the sake of access, but to me it's the most important thing on earth, because if it can be a lifesaver, literally. Like, if someone in my life needs medical attention and I have access to this amazing network of tremendous resources, then I all of a sudden can pull from that network to get on the front of the line of a world-class physician who can help somebody who needs help, or get into the right school for my daughter, or it opens doors to have that quality of a network, and I genuinely love the individuals that I interact with. Does that help?
Dude, yeah, for sure. But go ahead.
Where I've had trouble is that internet marketers come in all shapes, sizes, and flavors, and so it's been very difficult for me to zoom in on just say, I only want to hang out, or I only want to focus on, because I know big black hat CPA traffic guys are definitely not folks I want to be connected with. However, sometimes those guys know information that you can transfer and turn into positive, or you can use that. There's a positive and a negative to everything.
Sure.
So I guess that's my long-ass winded way of saying I'm having trouble pinpointing who my target market is.
And I would tell you that, I mean, obviously this is happening in real time. So if we spent some time together, and I was having the same conversation, I would tell you that trying to figure out who your market isn't the issue. Because again, that's the challenge, is that you're trying to figure out what your market is, and what you need to figure out is, dude, what do you want to be when you grow up?
Mm-hmm.
Right? What is going to make you unbelievably happy? It makes you happy to hang out with cool people, obviously. It makes you happy to network with people. It makes you happy to have a network of people. It makes you happy, I'm assuming, to hang out with your family and your friends, and basically to be in a social setting. And if you could get compensated, beyond any of your wildest dreams to do that in a very real way, that's the goal. I mean, basically, if you only had 6 months, right? If you only had 6 months left, what would you spend your time doing? Would you keep doing the internet marketing party all day, every month for the next 6 months?
The way it is right this second, probably not. Okay. But if I could transform it to a way that I can't clearly yet see, yes.
Okay, so then my point would be...
for me, it's not just about the networking. It's about, to me, doing networking the right way is a magical process, man. Because it's almost like it's like putting the right two people together that creates something that adds more value to the world. So that's in a positive way.
So, but that's okay. So you're just answering your own question by talking through it. It's not the networking. It's not running the party. It's the bringing real value and creating something that has a legacy. That you were there at the very beginning. It's the start. It's, hey, this is what I enjoy doing. This is what I'm passionate about. And if I can be there to make the connection and get people to take it to the next level, that's what makes me happy. I would say that that's definitely part of it, right? Knowing you like I know you.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll give you. Let me just give you. This sounds kind of morbid, and it sounds kind of crazy, right? But
I'm good with that. I understand. That's why the Freemasons use so much.
But here's the
symbology, because they want you to be close to your death. Like the Indians used to say, "Devour your death." Today's a good day to die. It's like it's gonna happen. You may as well.
Here's the reality of it, bro. Okay, is that every one of us has got a ticking clock. And if you need to put yourself, and I would tell anybody they need to do this, you need to put yourself in a situation where you realize your days are numbered. And you need to quickly identify what you are passionate about, what you love, and what you would hope to do every single day for the rest of your life. And if that means that you're going to, I would say that 99 out of 100 people are crazy if they say that, I want to, for the rest of my life, I want to go to a job that makes me good money and I'm happy at. No, you don't. Who the hell wants to do that? You want to go off and enjoy your life, right? So start designing things that allow you to do that. In other words, where you're not strapped to your job. It doesn't require a ton of involvement. Where you're building a business or building whether it's technology or a network or wherever, where that you can leverage, where you don't have to spend an exorbitant amount of time doing it. I got a really good wake-up call in May of last year. It's about right at a year ago. Because I talk about this, and I really believe this stuff, and it's worked wonders in my business. But I was on an airplane flying from Atlanta to West Palm Beach, which I have done, thousands of times, and had my little girl and my wife 6 rows behind me because we weren't seating together because we booked the tickets at different times. Long story short, the entire cabin filled with smoke. Smoke so thick that I couldn't see 5 feet in front of me. And the stewardesses and the captain, everybody got on there and they were panicking. I don't mean just a little bit. I mean panicking. We are going.
They were no longer pros.
Yeah, no. This whole little thing where they do this little thing, cool. That wasn't happening at all. It was, we are going down. Get ready. It's literally where the captain came on and said, I need everybody in here to pay close attention and brace for impact. And those are 3 words you don't.
I just felt like that.
Yeah, those are 3 words you don't ever want to hear on an airplane. And everybody's crying, everybody's screaming. The only thing I can hear is my little girl, who's 6 rows behind me, and she's 6 years old, and I can't do anything about her crying, right? Very upsetting. To this day, really upsets me when I think about it. But my point, long story short, we made an emergency landing in Tampa, got off the plane. They wanted us to get back on after they figured out what happened. And I was like, I'm out of here. See you later. Drove the rest of the way to West Palm Beach. But it was a not so subtle, kick straight to the teeth of, dude, you better start doing what you love doing and stop wasting time doing what you hope other people want you to do. And trying to figure out a way to design something or build something or create something for somebody else or go promote something just for the sake of chasing money that doesn't make you happy. Dude, no, screw that. Just get completely dialed in on this is what I want to do every day for the rest of my life and start working backwards from there. And if it's anything less than that, then I tell you, you're not playing the right game.
Wow, man. That was the part during like within the last 4 minutes when I was like, man, I'm supposed to be interviewing Kent and talking about stuff that other people will get value from. And I was like, but I genuinely hope that other people watching this is that you will get value from this, because I am. I kind of started feeling like, man, I'm getting some free coaching here. But yeah, man, it really it's good stuff.
It will make everything else make sense if you start there. That's kind of the point. When we started off, to kind of bring together when people talk about designing products that other people want and all that kind of stuff. The point is we design products and we just do things that make us happy because life's too damn short to do anything else. And it's amazing by doing it that way and kind of working backwards how it just, the money has found us and the success has found us and our customers are attracted to us because we're just dealing from a very genuine spot. I mean, we're not out there trying to be something or try to do something for somebody else. We're doing it for us first.
Wow. And it adds a lot of insight on a lot of things because sometimes when you're in the heat of business, that old adage about the scorpion and the frog? Have you heard that one?
No, I haven't.
So imagine there's an island, right? And there's a scorpion and there's a frog living on the island. And speaking of smoke, that island's burning, right? But on the other, there's a ravine and there's another island. You've got to go over water to get from the island to the other island, right? So this island's burning, and every last square inch is going to be burned. So the scorpion is going to burn because he can't swim, but the frog's about to take off and head over. So the scorpion says to the frog, "Hey, man, you think I could ride your back and I'm gonna burn here?" And the frog's like, "Hell no, you're a fucking scorpion. You'll sting me and eat me." And the scorpion's like, "Dude, I will be indebted to you. Like, I'll owe you my life. I'm not gonna sting you. You gotta trust me on this." And this frog's like, "Okay, he's a nice guy. Get on." Frog swims across to the other side. As soon as they hit land, bink, scorpion's fucking stings the frog. And the frog's just like, "Dude, you why would you do that?" And the scorpion goes, "I'm a scorpion. It's in my nature. It's what they do." So chances are in the game of business, when somebody's being a complete royal douchebag or asshole, that's what makes them happy. Like, they love the game of winning at any cost, and that's what brings them joy. And if you understand that, then it makes it just to where if you're not doing what you enjoy, then you're just going to feel depressed and it's going to tear you down. But if you're doing what you enjoy, they don't stand a chance against you.
That's right. You can't lose.
You can't lose, because even if they do topple your business, you'll just reincarnate your business in some other market or in some other way. It's almost like playing a game you love. You don't fucking get bummed out if you lose one game in a tournament. Or even if you lose a tournament, because it's not about winning the tournament, it's about playing the game.
Yeah, and it sounds kind of cliche to say and kind of, you know, whatever, but the point is man, it's very real. I mean, if it's just about the money, then take it from somebody that's had it, lost it, got it all back. I mean, it can't be just about the money. It's got to matter.
Very, very, very cool. Well, man, so I guess we've covered actionable stuff. I mean, is there, without spilling the beans, because, you know, I've gone through the process, but I'm just thinking, somebody at home, what's a question they can ask themselves without you giving the very specific 1, 2, 3?
I would tell them to ask themselves.
What's the question they need to answer so that they can answer in the comments below and compete for a day with you?
Oh man, that's going to be tough to answer in comments.
Yeah.
Here's the big. I'll give you the big question that everybody just needs to basically ask yourself. If you had to be in like Groundhog Day, the movie Groundhog Day, if you had to do that over and over, you had to live the exact same day over and over and over. You should take the time to know exactly what that day is going to look like.
Now, a lot of our audience is men, so you know a lot of them are going to answer. You don't even have to say what they're going to say.
All right, so bigger than that.
Because I know what popped in mind in your head just now.
Bigger than that. And you got to be thinking, dude, this is what I want to
tie your family into it, right?
Yeah, I want to be hanging out with my family at the beach, chilling out, hanging out with friends, getting paid a ton of money to just do stuff and hang out with cool people, whatever. You know, really understand what that is and what's going to give you joy. And then kind of, again, that's how we just start. We start working backwards from there. And that's exactly what I do. Everything I do. I've gotten a lot of...
I have to interrupt with a follow-up question that I think, you know, there's a thought, a meme that was implanted in my head a long time ago it was Jim Rohn, or it was, I think Zig Ziglar has a similar one, and that's that your income is directly proportionate to the value you provide, or some. I'm paraphrasing, but I think that's where that thought came into my mind. And most people that are entrepreneurial, they read books so it seems like that kind of goes counter to what you're saying, though. I mean, I know it doesn't literally. But
no, it doesn't literally, but it is, and I think that's where a lot of people get stuck. And I would tell you that. So, go ahead.
So how do you unstuck that? Like, I mean, because it's almost like you're like.
You cannot give any value. I would argue that you will only give limited value if you are not completely congruent with what brings value to your life, what makes you happy, what you're passionate about, what exactly you want to do on a day in and day out basis, and why you want to do it. I don't care whether you're coaching, whether you're designing products, whether you're publishing, whatever the case may be. If you can get dialed in there, it makes every part of what you do more enjoyable and brings more value to everybody involved. Because we've all seen it happen where you see whether it's a car salesman or whatever, they're trying to sell you something and they know all the right buzzwords and they know everything to say to you, but there's just no connection, right? And the reality is the reason why my people connect with me and a lot of people that kind of subscribe to the same philosophy is because I'm just not bullshitting them. This is who I am. I know exactly what makes me tick. This is exactly what I'm trying to do. I know it works. Either you love me or you hate me. Either way, I win. Because the people that love me are going to be around me. The people that hate me, they're going to be gone. So I'm designing the perfect scenario for me. And by starting there, I'm bringing value to the people that would be in a position to actually reap value from me. Otherwise, you know, we're just kind of we're just dancing.
Right. Wow. Good stuff, man. Very, very good stuff. So we were trying to get to a question that we could ask, that we could answer below, because I think we have the notion of a question of what people know they should answer below. What's the question that they should be answering below? Oh, is it the Groundhog Day question?
Yeah.
Yeah. So for those of you that haven't seen the movie Groundhog Day, if you had to live the same day over and over and over, what would you be doing? Is that it?
That's it.
And
the best answer. What did we decide we're going to do?
How do we make? I mean, because people, if somebody says, "Well, I want to be on the beach, hanging out with my family, making tons of money,"
it's got to be. Hey, listen. I'll give you a really good word of advice here when it comes to this. The more generic it is, the less likely it is that you're going to be able to make that happen. It's got to be detailed. You have got to know. If you don't know what you want, and if you can't take the time to know what you want, then how the hell do you ever expect to get it? And that's the point of the exercise, is to actually take the time to understand this is why I'm doing it, this is what I want to do, and this is, because if you understand that, then you can absolutely formulate the how.
I hope folks watching right now will take a moment and rewind to what you just said, just moments ago. Because it was profound. It's so simple, so profound. Like,
you got it. The devil's in the details, man. You got to know what you want, and you have to take the time to really understand it, and then I promise you, you will begin to figure out quickly how to get there. But if you don't even know, if you don't have a destination in mind, and which I will tell you, across the board, most people don't. They're just kind of going through the motions. They're chasing money or chasing whatever. Then it's pretty tough to get to where you want to get to. How the hell do you even know when you got there?
Right. Gotcha. So, and I want to make that's amazing stuff. So enter your answers below, and that's remember, Kent charges $15,000 for 2 days, so this is a hell of a prize, and for whoever wins. And I guess just to wrap things up, so you want to give folks, in your own words, what you're going to be talking about and what to expect on Thursday, July the 12th.
You got it, man. I'm first off, I can't even tell you how honored I am to be able to come and do that. I'm excited to do it with Heather. She and I don't speak on stage together that often, kind of bringing her out of the shadows. But we're definitely going to talk about how we get what our formula is for getting dialed in, so that in turn we can design stuff for ourselves first, products for ourselves first, and that is filling a need for us, and in turn allows us to be able to communicate to our list and to anybody we're advertising to in a very transparent way, so that it solves problems for them as well. And it's a really simple, straightforward formula, but I'll tell you, most people they don't apply it. And again, it's defined us and changed our business for the better over the last couple of years in a very big way.
And so this is a formula you use now. So even if you're a big guru or you're already making millions, it's still valuable for you, whether you're already doing really well or even if you're just getting started.
Every week to this very day. I mean, we ask these questions of ourselves and our team on a weekly basis. So this absolutely is what we use.
Wow, very cool. The image that just came to mind is that I learned this at one point, that the space, if a spacecraft is trying to get to the moon, it's off track 90% of the time. If you just looked at if this is a straight line, it's always making course adjustments.
Right.
Often, if you look, most of the time it's off. It's just continuously.
That's a cool little analogy right there. I like that. I may have to use that.
Yeah, because in space things just keep moving in the direction, and then
right.
You get it. So
that's cool.
You're never really on track unless you're continuously asking, "Am I on track? Am I on track?" And that's probably some insight onto one of the questions, at least.
I'm excited, man. I'm really excited. I'm gonna be flying in from out of town I'm gonna take my wife and kids down to Nicaragua for a wedding for a couple days, and so I'm gonna fly in from that. So I'm excited. It'll be a good time.
Very cool. Very cool. And my apologies for that. You said it's probably the worst picture ever that we have on the Internet Marketing Party page. You can blame it on Heather. I asked her to give me a good picture of you two, and she said, we don't have one of us two, so I just made a funny one of you two wearing hats.
I knew somebody was behind it. I didn't know who it was. Had to be you or her. Somebody was.
Yeah, we just kind of keep it lighthearted and fun. But if you want to send us a better picture, we're happy to change it out.
Yeah. Now that it's already happened. Yeah.
Yeah. Alrighty. Well, we'll see everybody watching on Thursday, July the 12th at